right. This is the first time I turned all the shit on and it worked.
In a while. Anyway. Hey, we're Power and Speed. 908-751-0211. Nobody will call anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Go ahead, special guest.
Like us on Facebook and Instagram.
Nice.
Oh, we don't have an Instagram.
We're going to get one.
Oh.
Now. We're going to have to.
Is it that everybody that says this, intro thing retarded?
No.
Because Tad's always...
No, he did fine, yeah.
Except for Instagram.
We need one.
I think we need iTunes.
He actually, yeah. And iTunes. Like us on iTunes or whatever you do on iTunes.
I'm just going to be quiet for a minute and figure out what one of you idiots has your phone on.
Oh.
Didn't I say that just before?
You did, and I didn't mean to.
My God.
He's a
not
rookie.
listen to you, sorry.
Rookie.
All right, Tad is not here. He's stuck at work. So,
what will we do?
I don't know.
Dave LeCalio is here.
Yes, Dave LeCalio is here from Head Games.
And he is...
Ready.
Did you drive your Mustang here?
I did not.
I was going to warn you about the roads, but then by the time I got done talking to Tom...
I was thinking that as soon as we jumped onto that gravel road, I was like, thank God I did not drive my car.
They just tarred and chipped all the roads around here. And I think a lot of people don't know what that's like. Like, I don't think they do it all over.
Why did they do that?
I have no fucking idea. I mean, that's how they surface the roads here.
They turned it into rock?
But it's rubble.
Yeah.
It's like loose.
Yeah.
Does it ever get tight?
Yeah.
Wait. They leave it like that?
Yes.
They don't put anything over that?
No. They put tar down, then they sprinkle rock, and then they go away.
My mind is
and then as you drive on it, the rock gets beat into the tar?
Yes.
How long does that take?
About a month.
Billions and billions of years.
Yeah, about a month. And I think like a month later, they will come by and like street sweep and get all the loose stuff off. But I mean, it doesn't happen anytime soon. I can tell you that for a fact. It does not have, like, it's a month before you can drive anything you care about.
That would anger me.
Yeah, well, what am I going to do? I mean,
move.
Yeah.
Call your congressman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Screw this shit.
Yeah, no.
So, Thomas.
Yo.
You have house stuff going on.
Yeah, I do.
So
it's full bloom now.
That's what happened last week. So, are you making progress?
Yeah,
finally?
we are. Yep. But it's just dealing with everybody, getting them all coordinated. It's tough. You know.
Oh, I know exactly how it goes. And I would like to take some wagers on the time of your erection, so to speak.
Well, if it lasts more than 4 hours,
you got to go to the doctor. Yeah.
Who actually would go to the doctor?
I'd call the newspaper. I mean, that's impressive.
Hard.
All right, Dave, what about you? Anything going on? Anything interesting?
Well, I'm preparing for Asian to drive from Street Outlaws to drive my Mustang at their next race at Maple Grove at the end of August.
Your Mustang that you drove here?
Yeah.
That's the only one he's got.
I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know what this
I got two Mustangs.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I got one with a 2J in it, but...
Does that run?
That does not run.
Yeah.
But the one that runs, I bought...
I'm not a Ford guy, but the 2J sounds a little more interesting than a conventional...
That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Car. And it looks a lot easier to work on.
Yeah. No doubt.
If you look at it, I don't want to even think about working on my Coyote.
All right, so how did this all come to be?
We've been planning the race, like to go to the race as a family, my girl and I, and the kid, and then we decided I'll just text Asian and see if he wanted to race the car, because they have a daily driver race. It's something that they put him and Farm Truck put on at every race. So hit him up, said, "Hey man, do you want to drive my car for the daily driver race?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So, then I decided that I wanted to spend some money on it and make it a little bit faster, since he's like a jockey. He's small. I'm fat.
Okay.
Big. So.
Dave's not fat. He's just being
big boned.
Humble.
Yes.
Humble.
I'm wrong. He's fat.
Nice.
So yeah, we're looking at probably hopefully go somewhere in the 11s.
So he's just going to come up here to drive your car?
No, that's not his whole purpose.
Street Outlaws deal.
Maple Grove.
In Maple Grove.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the part of the puzzle I was missing.
Yeah, it's a no prep race.
You would think that I would know all about this.
Yeah, seeing as you're such a fan.
Tremendous. DVR it, watch it all the time.
Yep, I know.
Over and over.
I know. Must have slipped your mind.
Yep. Somehow or another, I missed that.
Yeah, they have a no prep race at the end of August, and I'm planning on attending, but I didn't want to drive you drive 75 to 100 miles, they said, for this daily driver race. And I just, after driving an hour and a half there, I don't feel like driving another 70 to 100 miles.
Well, what's the format of that? What's it like? Is it like a mini drag week? Like you got to drive around and then come back?
I guess so. I mean, I've never been to it, so I have no idea.
And who's the daily driver race open to?
Anybody? Yeah.
You just pay to get in? It's like a
It's $200 to get in.
Really?
Yeah. $5,000 purse.
Bracket race?
No, it's I think it's an open. I actually don't know that.
It has to be a bracket race, doesn't it?
Well, I could have a guy,
Let me ask Asian.
a pro mod streetcar guy, come up with.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you can only have a radial. You can't have a drag radial. You can only have a bi-sply.
Okay.
So you're kind of stuck to whatever would actually hook. You can't really make that much power. And it's a no prep track.
Okay. So it's well, there's got to be more to this than that, because if it was, I mean, you could go there with a piece of shit that ET's 18 flat. Just
and win.
Cut good lights and win. So there's got to be more to it than
I was just thinking I could race the Durango.
Sure. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All right, we asked Asian. We'll find out about that.
Put a delay box in that thing and be done. Some top bulb racing.
A top bulb racing.
That's right, man.
I've been putting some videos on YouTube.
Dude, don't use up all your shit in the first 3 minutes. What's wrong with you?
I got more.
Okay. You better not be sitting there.
That's good, because I got nothing.
40 minutes in, if you're sitting there like a lump, I'm putting you in the corner.
Well, no, Dave is actually responsible for getting tonight's guest. And I guess, Dave, you actually know the guy.
Who is it?
This wasn't like, I mean, I had to clarify that. And I don't think people understand what goes on in the beginning here. Because the last time, who was it that I said, do you know that guy? And he's like, no, I just called him.
Darren Morgan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to check.
Typical, like what our listeners do.
Yeah.
We get messages. Yeah, I know this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then you call the guy and they're like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Or
call him up.
Or random listeners just start pounding on somebody that they want to hear. And they're like, who is this?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be on Power and Speed? Come on Power and Speed.
But you know this guy.
Well, I've known Pat Topolinski from Power Nation. I've known Pat for about 20 years.
You went to school with him?
I went to school with him at School of Automotive Machinists in Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up becoming an instructor there, and he drove one of the race cars that we had for the school. And I've traveled the country with the guy, so I mean we've really known each other for a long time. Got to really know each other.
You stayed in a room with him?
Absolutely.
So I'm the only other guy that stayed in a room with you?
And you guys wonder why I sit over here by myself out of the way.
No, we're good.
Fucking weirdos.
We're good.
Remember
the night we got all hammered on scotch?
I do remember that.
That was a good night.
That scotch, I don't remember the name of it, but it tasted like apple juice.
Belvini.
Yep. What year was it?
I think it was a 15. It was a Belvini double wood 15.
It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was badass.
I could not stop drinking it. Apple juice.
I don't drink anymore. Yeah, I know. We got wrecked. Just me and Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny.
Nobody got naked.
Whatever goes on, it's all good.
Yeah, clothes stayed on.
No problem. But yeah, it looks like Pat's actually got quite a list of accomplishments and things he's been involved with.
Yes, he is. He's no slouch. He's not. He basically runs around the shop like he's on crack.
Is he on crack?
He's never. He's a drug-free guy.
Good. So,
just a couple other questions.
You got a couple more questions?
I do.
Good.
Well, because you know him,
mm-hmm.
and I told you this, and full disclosure, I don't know this guy. I don't watch much TV. I really don't. So like all these shows, and you know what? It's something that happens to me when I watch one of these shows and a guy's working on something, I get bad. I'm like, you're an idiot. You just said something stupid. I can't watch him. I can't watch him.
I hear that, but probably doesn't happen on his show.
Probably not, but I've never seen his show. So you're going to have to carry some of this. The interview.
The pressure is
on you, Dave, because I did some research on the guy, and I did, that's how I know the guy is really somebody. So it's pretty. I hope he's not going to be nervous.
I hope
coming on here. There's no way Pat's going to be nervous.
I hope not. It's a lot of pressure.
It happens. It's power and speed. We're a podcast.
Well, the first couple times you came on here, you got all stupid.
Oh, I was like, hello? Hi.
Yeah, you were.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But I mean, he's been involved in a lot of things, including a pretty serious crew chief duty,
Yes.
which
Well,
is,
I don't think he was a crew chief.
well, in charge
he
of
was on the
clutch
team.
and trans.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big responsibility.
When
That's
I
a
was
big,
there,
big responsibility
Yeah.
on a pro stock car.
Probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Other than the thing in the front of the car that runs.
Yeah.
at the school too, he was also, I mean, he became an instructor. He was in charge of teaching us how to machine stuff, and the guy could basically make anything. You just put him on a machine and he was just gone. He makes something.
Okay.
He's super talented. He's definitely not the normal TV guy. Normal TV guy is probably really not has any kind of experience.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to knock those guys, but I mean,
But it's true.
maybe I expect it to be, a little higher scale than it is, like not as basic.
Mhm.
That like they talk about in the bolts will hold down the head gaskets. I'm like, oh, dude, shut up. I guess,
They're trying to cater to a different crowd.
yes. Yeah. But that,
the lowest common denominator.
yeah. But that's why I can't watch that stuff. But I've never, I don't know. And the cable company out here, if time it's Comcast, it's potluck what you're going to get depending on your given region. I don't think this is on anywhere around here. I don't know.
On Velocity?
It's on Velocity?
It's on Velocity, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if I have Velocity.
I just hope he's not starstruck when he has to talk to me and you.
I think he'll be fine.
Okay. I hope.
And I'm pretty sure I never yelled at his TV show.
What about the three fat guys? You remember that show? The three
the
fat guys?
Three fat guys?
There's three fat guys. They're on Discovery. And they would say stuff that like made you want to throw something at
What's the name of the
TV.
show? Three fat guys? Three idiots?
It really was three.
Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff, and I've seen some of the how it's made videos.
Oh God,
they're bad. I mean, they actually make mistakes. I saw one about the Corvette when they were putting the engine together, and they're talking about the crankshaft connects.
Yeah,
to the,
and they're
to
putting in a camshaft or something. It's like not even close.
Yeah. And here's a brake caliper, and the guy's holding like injectors or something.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of patience for that. I really don't. And I like to watch things that, like some of the cool stuff that I've seen, like at least I think it's okay. Now I'm questioning. I don't know. But I watched like a whole thing on Rolls-Royce, on the jet engines.
Yep.
Now I'm sitting here wondering, wow, I was sitting there like, yeah. I wonder if it's all wrong.
Could be.
And here's a turbine. I mean, I know what a turbine blade is, but it makes you wonder.
Yeah. Hey, ask him if it's a bracket race.
I did.
Well,
He said it's tournament style.
Well, what's tournament style?
I have no idea what that is either.
I think we're going to find out. We're going to go there and we're just going to find out. I'd love to tell you
I've
all
never
about
heard a drag race explained like tournament style.
Me neither.
it. I think it's run what you brung. I hope you brought enough.
Yeah, but there's.
Well, that's okay.
Is it just the fastest guy to the end wins?
I think so.
Okay.
That would be a tournament, right?
Yeah, but where
you
you going
win,
with
you
your
lose.
Mustang at 11-0 or 11 something?
12-0.
12-0.
It really doesn't matter how far it goes.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be like probably round one.
That's cool.
Yeah, but still,
cool.
Asians
driving.
driving it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because his Jeep is fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude can drive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
You picking him up at the airport?
No.
Limo?
That's not my job.
I know.
He probably has drivers.
Probably.
So what else? Talk about car stuff. How's the Corvette?
Turbo kit. I actually did a little kind of show the day that you couldn't make it.
Mhm.
And I talked about it a little bit. Props to Huron. They got me the components that I was going to need that Tim didn't really seem like too into making.
Mhm.
It was going to be a little tough. I got Casey the address the other day because I was behind on that. I think I got it to him on Wednesday. So Tim should have the kit, or at
Huron-
least the parts of the kit that we're going to use.
Huron makes a kit for that?
Yeah. They actually have really nice stuff, but there's just, there's some drawbacks into that. Like when we originally started this project, Tim's like, you get the turbochargers you need or that you want or what's recommended. So I got a particular set of turbos that were what I was told this is ideal. And Tom and I have had endless conversations about the turbine housing and everything on this thing.
Endless.
And it's gotten to the point that it's actually irritated Tom a little bit. I've asked him about it so much.
No,
And-
that was back then. I'm not irritated anymore.
Okay.
I think we're pretty dialed in with those things.
But then so now that the plan is switched from Tim doing the work that he was going to do to me having to provide more stuff for him as a foundation. Well, now it looks like the turbine housings are wrong on the turbos I have. So,
because they probably use a
flange.
A non-T4 flange.
Yeah, they use a T4 flange and mine are V-bands. So I don't know, but when Tim has the thing in his hands, that's probably the last big hurdle. Everything else kind of bolts together. There's not any custom work to be done.
Oh, they're fabbed headers, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure Tim can cut the T4 flange off.
I don't know about that because if you look at the configuration of them, they're not, because the car is so tight, it's not what you would expect. Like we would expect looking at the headers that I have for the Tahoe, collector and flange. And no, it's kind of like tubes sort of coming in.
Yeah, I know, but they fit.
Yeah, into a T4 housing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could nicely reduce or collect that into a 3-inch V-band.
And is it divided?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. I don't know.
What? The exhaust?
Housing.
The headers?
The header and the housing.
No, the housing's not. The housing on the turbo it's a V-band. Round.
No, the one he got.
What?
Like the stuff that you got is
It's
divided.
V-band. It's a
stuff
hole.
you got- Oh, I got you.
Yeah, the turbo's a
I'm sorry.
V-band.
I was confused.
The header is T4.
Okay.
None of it's divided.
Okay.
Yeah, none of it's divided. None of it.
So,
So that's where that stands.
he's just a worrier. It's gonna work. I mean, I would hope Tim could get that to work, even if he's got to spread the flange a little bit.
Well, if worst comes to worst, I mean, we could change the housings. I mean, I'm sure we can get them. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not terribly expensive, are they?
No,
Okay.
yours are way more money than an iron. You got stainless T4 stuff.
Yeah. No.
I mean, stainless V-band
yeah.
stuff.
That's why we got them, because they were supposed to be the right ones.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, we got a caller.
Patrick.
What's up?
Patrick Topolinski. How are you, sir?
Good. What's happening?
Where are you? You sound like you're talking into a like a bucket.
Oh, I'm in. Now let me see if I can switch you here. Hold on.
You gonna switch buckets?
Yeah,
Home Depot bucket.
about it. How's that? Is that better?
Much better.
much better.
Much better. Yeah, I'm in my truck. I was on my way home.
Okay, don't drive through any dead cell sites.
No, I'm good. I just pulled into a parking lot. Actually, it's got some full jam bars, so I'm good to go. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
We're
Good. How about you?
Well, I don't know if I get any better right now, to tell you the truth.
And we were talking. We know that like some people when they come on shows like this, they can get a little nervous, but we just want you to relax. I mean, it's not a big deal.
I will do my best. I'm a little high strung. I'm a little no, I'm not exactly on crack, like I heard earlier. But,
Yeah, that was nice, Dave. By the way,
I appreciate that, Dave. You bastard. Anyways, yeah, no, it's a good day. Everything's going well. We're just I just got done making some TV, and it's I got a good gig right now, so it's a lot of fun.
So that's what you do every day. You make TV shows about car shit.
Yeah, it's about car shit, and we're DIY. And like I heard you say, you don't watch a lot of TV, and I don't blame you because I watch those same shows and throw the same stuff at the TV and say, "Oh my God, why'd that guy say that?" So, which we try to pride ourselves in accurate information. The unique thing about our guys, we have 4 shows. We have a 4x4 show called XOR. We have a truck show called Truck Tech, which is modified trucks, either 4-wheel drive or street trucks, race trucks. We have a muscle car show called Detroit Muscle. It's just vintage iron all the way up to regular modern day cars. And excuse me. And then we have the show Engine Power, and that's the one myself and my co-host Mike Galley and I work on. And the unique thing about us is none of us are TV people. We're industry people that are basically on TV doing hardcore DIY.
So you work. You said you work on that particular show, but do you help on the other shows?
Yeah, actually, because our show, we have the engines, right? So we do a little bit of work on other shows. If they need a bullet for one of their projects, we'll build it, and we build our own stuff as well. We're obviously engine-centric, hence the name Engine Power on the show, but we also work on vehicles. We'll build 2-3 vehicles a year in our shop as well, and the engines, we do everything from vintage to modern. So, but it's primarily domestic V8 stuff. But we have dabbled into some imports and things like that, and we've done a little bit of everything. And it's a lot of fun.
Pat, why don't you bring up some of your history? Like, where'd you come from?
My history? Oh, well, I have a checkered past. Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's what he was telling us off the air.
Well, it is. Dave and I chewed a lot of the same dirt for a while here at Samtech, and it was a fun time. I got started, all the way back. I've been doing this professionally since I was 17 years old, so I'm 48 now. But so as far as engines and things like that, I've always worked on it when I learned how to drive on an 8N Ford tractor. That's when I was 9 years old. And as far as working on engines and things like that, I have always worked on my own stuff. And back when I was, oh my God, rebuilding engines at 15, 16 years old, I had a 73 Comet was my first car, and with a 200 straight six. And for some reason, the valve springs don't like to go over about 4,800 and they start breaking. And so I got good at changing those and doing reverse slams in the car with the transmission falling out of it every time. And so I got a lot of experience doing that stuff. By the time I was actually 16, I've been driving for a long time. And as far as machining, I taught myself how to run an old South Bend lathe, the kind where you change speeds with a leather belt. That's what drives it.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So, and I learned how to stick weld on a buzz box, with changing the probes to not one of those fancy dials. This is the old tombstone you had to change the electrodes to change your amperage. So my dad was a farmer, so we didn't buy anything new. You fixed it. There's no going to the store and buying a new drill. You sharpened it. So
where are you from initially?
Kind of stuff. I'm originally from northern Michigan, a little town in the upper part of the lower peninsula, a little town called Boyne Falls, Michigan. Population of about 300 people. So,
wow.
So
you had to learn to do everything yourself.
You did, and because my uncle had a dairy farm. My dad was part of that farm, and if we weren't fixing stuff, we were fixing stuff. So,
and it's cold up there. Just a side note, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's one thing I haven't got used to anywhere else I've been is the heat. And I know that sounds weird, but I'm sitting in my truck right now, and it's a balmy 84 degrees, and I'm about ready to take my pants off because I'm so damn hot in here. So.
All right, it's a family show here, man.
Yeah, settle down.
Dave told us we were going to expect that.
I can tell by the F-bombs.
Well,
so you left there and you came to Sam and joined.
Yeah, I
joined me.
Well, what year was that? How old were both you guys when you attended that?
Well, when I first heard about Sam, they had these little tiny postage stamp ads in like Hot Rod magazine and Carcraft magazine that said be a professional engine builder. And it's this little, Dave, do you remember those ads?
Yeah.
How small they were?
Yeah, it's what drug me in there.
Yeah, and so I went down there, and it was 1997 is when I went down there. Now at that point I'd been working in a machine shop in a neighboring town called Petoskey, Michigan. And I ran a machine shop there at a CarQuest, and I'd been a machinist and an engine builder for 10 years before that. But I wanted to get into the racing industry and work on believe it or not, I wanted to work on pro stock stuff. And so I went down there, and initial guy that was doing the admissions, one that Dave was in the admissions later, but the guy's name was Brian Nutter, and talked to Brian and toured.
Yeah, I know Brian.
Yeah.
From
a lot of industry guys will know Brian, but Brian was one time chewed dirt with all of us. Like you said, right?
Absolutely. And good friend to this day. That's the nice thing about that place is you make a lot of lifelong friends because everybody that applied themselves is in the industry. And so I talked to Brian, and I got down to Samtech, which is Sam back then, and I got down there in June of '98. And I'd already done a bunch of engine work and all that. I started helping out the instructors that were already there. They were former students, and but the only experience they'd basically had on machine work was what they'd learned there. And as far as boring, honing, balancing, all that good stuff, I'd been doing that for a long time. And so I offered my services, and I talked to Judd, the owner, and he says, "Well, I'll let you work here if you can do one job for him. And he had a 350 Chevy. Basically, it was a complete engine that was all, it wasn't even torn down. It was an old, nasty, looked like it came out of a creek bed. But he said, I got to do a test on this engine. And we're going to test some fuel catalyst, whatever, snake oil, something or other for something or other. And this engine hadn't been touched. He says that engine has to be running, freshened on the dyno by Monday. And this was Friday afternoon. And so me and the other guy that worked, remember Andrew that worked in the cylinder head department, Dave?
Andrew Brusso.
Yeah, Andrew Brusso. Yep. Andrew and I stayed there, and so tore the block down Friday. I machined it all Saturday, and Andrew did the heads. I put it together Sunday, and when Judd came in Monday morning, I had it running on the dyno, and he said, "You're hired."
Wow. Where was Dave during all this? He can help you?
Dave. Oh man, I got a bunch of stories. How much time we have? Because
we have time.
We
this is what I was afraid of. I was like, this is like having, like you're getting married and your best friend, your best friend, your best man's about to give a speech.
Yep.
And
yeah, this is exactly that scenario. And but no, I assure you, the stories are all good, and we had a lot of fun. But some of them are pretty interesting. I don't know if Dave's ever told them to you, but we've done some fun stuff for sure. So, but yeah, so Dave, I'm not sure. He was probably, I'm sure he was doing something constructive because he was always a go-getter at the school.
Yeah. Okay. That sounded believable.
I completely understand.
I know.
So, but yeah.
I used to just hide in the porting room. That's what I used to do there.
Yes.
Because I became director of admissions there, and then like they would always be buzzing me to go talk to somebody. But if I was in the porting room, nobody could say anything. So I'd be like, I didn't hear it. I was in the porting room. That's actually how I became into porting. I realized I liked
hiding. Essentially hiding brought you into porting.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I like this. This is pretty cool.
It was all the work that was going down in there. He got to doing porting by, I guess it'd be osmosis.
Yep.
So
Dave actually was nice enough to take me to Sam. What did we go? 2 years ago?
Yeah, Texas 2K.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Boy, am I getting old, man? Because when he said, "Yeah, it was 97," I'm like, "That's not that long ago."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah, it was.
I'm so fucked.
That's what I say too. I always think that shit that happened literally 10 years ago. I'm like, wasn't that last year? I'm like, no, idiot. That was in 2008. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, because I'm 50. So when I think back when somebody says 97, I can think about everything I was doing in 97. You know, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, it's like it's yesterday, and I mean, there's no that somehow or another never crossed the line of I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like I don't see it the same way. So like actually when he first said, I had to sit there and think, wow, 97, 2007, 2017. And I'm like sitting there.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
You ran out of fingers.
Yeah.
I was fresh out of high school when I went down there. And,
oh, were you?
Yeah, I was fresh out of high school. And like when you mentioned about the Judd's story, it just reminded me, you asked where I was. But at that point, I probably wasn't very putting myself into anything.
Yeah.
And that's something that Judd pulled me aside one day, and he pulled me in his office, and he said, "Dave, you're smart, but you're being stupid." And
Sounds like you.
And he gave me a job there. That was when I started becoming director of admissions. And he said, "I'm going to straighten your ass out." And he did.
Nice.
Changed my life.
Good. And look what you have.
So you were worse?
I was worse.
Imagine. Okay. I'm trying to imagine that. I'm trying to make sense of that.
Well, it didn't have a lot of direction.
All right. Well, you're good now. So,
yeah.
So Pat, let's. Yeah. I want to fast forward a little bit to your pro stock days because that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, that's to me, that's probably the accomplishment that I'd most want to know about because that's the highest level. Like when he says, "Yeah, I wanted to work on a pro stock," and I'm like, "Yeah, I totally get that."
Yeah, Formula One would be higher, but
no.
Well, that's a
I hear you.
pipe dream, you know, when you go into a school because everyone wants to work in NASCAR, they want to work for John Force, or they want to, you know, and my focus on, because I could focus on a few different things like dynoing and more things that I'd never been exposed to before. I said, man, I want to get into this in the pro stock, and that was just my goal, and you know, fortuitously it actually happened, and it happened in 2006, and because the school, they always place people in the racing industry. The school's well known, and they have a high placement rate, and they're known for quality people coming out of there. And so previous to that, the crew chief for KB Racing, which his name's Rob Downing, he's a very good friend of mine even to this day. He had come down before and was looking for people back when he was with Mark Powick, and he had gotten a graduate to work from the school at Powick's place. And then so when we would go out to the races, Houston used to have 2 races a year. They had a spring and a fall race, and then the fall race went away. Mm-hmm. But when I first got out there, I went to the first race. And at that point, I was this was in '99, and I'd met him and talked about him, and I'd met, and I also know Warren Johnson very, very well. Warren actually offered me a job before anybody did, and I, believe it or not, I turned him down. So
wow.
And how that worked, I had been at the school. You remember this story, Dave?
Yeah, I was there for this.
Yeah, what had happened is I'd gone out and I'd been an instructor at the school for, not that long, and I walked out to the pits and I had my khaki pants on and was carrying a briefcase and an Oxford shirt on, and I handed out resumes of what I could do, and I as far as machining and building, I'd done a lot of that, but I hadn't done a lot of dynoing and things like that. But I met Warren, walked right into his pit and introduced myself and talked briefly to him and handed him a resume and left and didn't think too much about it because I handed out 2 or 3 of them in the pro stock pits. I talked to Larry. I also did that with Larry Morgan and a couple others. And well, lo and behold, the Tuesday after the race, I get a phone call and I is on my answering machine back when there's answering machines, with tapes. And it was Warren. He's like, I'd like to know if you'd like to come out to the shop and talk to me. And so I said, absolutely. So I made a plan and went out to Sugar Hill, Georgia, and sat down with him. And first thing he says when I sat down in his office, which, you're a kid, in a school, and you've watched this guy race, for a long, long time. And now I'm sitting in his office, which is just covered in technical manuals and all kinds of cool stuff that I've always thought, boy, this would be really cool to even just take a tour of a place like this. And the first thing he says to me is, I'd like to offer you a job. I'd like to know if you want to come to work for me. I mean, just boom, just like that. And I'm like, whoa, this is actually happening. And so I talked to him a little bit and told me what I was going to be doing and all that. And I went back to the school, and I'd only been to school. I hadn't even graduated yet. And I went into Judd, and I told him, hey, I just got offered a job with WJ. And, he's like, oh, well, what did you say? I said, well, I didn't really give him an answer yet. And he says, well, here's what I want you to do. He says, I know that's what you're here for, and I know that's what you want to do. But, he says, here's what I want you to do here. He says, I want you to help start a race program because we don't have one. He said, we want to start running and showing, putting engines in cars and racing and promoting the school. And we're going to build a race car, and we're going to run this sanctioning body called the NMCA. And we're going to build a car. We want to build a car for a naturally aspirated class, and I want you to head that up, and I want you to drive it. And I'm like, so drive a race car or go work in pro stock? And he says, it's your decision. He said, I'll support you whatever you do. And I told him, well, I think I'll stay here and I'll start your race program and help you with the engines, and I get to drive a car. And then in January of '99, I became the general manager of the place.
Wow.
And the hardest thing I had to do was call up WJ and say, hey man, thanks for the offer, but no thanks.
Yeah, that's that would be a tough thing to turn down.
Yeah.
That was the one of the toughest decisions at that point in my life.
And what year was that?
And, that was 99.
So that's when he was a killer too.
Yeah.
That he won the championship that year. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's just knocking them dead. And but here's what he said, and I really appreciate it because he is one of the most intelligent people I've ever talked to. And he's and anytime that, someone sticks a mic in his face when he lost, he got that reputation of being cranky. I can't say enough about the man. But he said, I understand. He says, I understand the value of continued education. He says, let's keep in touch. And I could call him to this day, and he'll come to the phone. So
that's a pretty cool story.
It was a fun story, and great day. I know Arlene and Kurt, and they're fantastic people, and I've called Warren on several occasions. Warren actually built a carburetor for me for the car that we raced, and I called him up and said, "Hey, man. What do you think about this?" And he says, I think I can build you something. And he built a Dominator for our Malibu when we were running a class that recorded Dominator, and obviously it was spot on and wiped out every other Dominator I put on the thing. So
yeah, I guess he would be pretty good at carburation.
Yeah, but so that's how that was the first time, and so after that in 2006.
Wait, I want to back it up real quick. So when we talk about we started the race program at SAM, so we ended up we built Mike Kurtz's car first. He had a Monte Carlo, and we
that was the first 4 unit. That was we built a small block for it.
Small block for it. We did a 377 with LT4 heads, like the newer LT4 heads, and the first race we showed up at, we set the record and qualified number 1. So obviously there's a tear down there. So then we show up at the second race and we reset the record because that was the first. I mean, we haven't even taken hits on the car yet. And every race we showed up at, and also it continued on with the Malibu, we got tore down every single race. Just because, I mean, you're a tech school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how is this tech school coming out here and just whooping everybody's ass? And the first one, we were beating up on big blocks. There was one guy, remember, it had a 70 Monte Carlo. Billy Glidden built the motor. It was
you were saying the LT4 head. Was that like the reverse cool head?
Yeah, but we changed
modified it to be on a conventional small block.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was actually a decent head back in the time. It wasn't terrible.
That was probably the only thing that we really could use.
Yeah.
Because it was a factory style class.
Factory head class, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, the head had to have a factory part number available in GM catalog, yep.
So they got us on stem diameter because we put a smaller stem diameter in there.
Oh.
That's what... I mean, it took about 4 races for them to figure out. So then we built a D-stroke big block. And that's when, I mean, we decimated everybody. That was insanity. That
would be that was an engine that'd still be pretty damn good by today's standards even. So
yeah, 477.
Yeah.
Oh, then it was heavy.
477.
Yep. So we took a 502.
Yeah.
De-stroked it.
Yep.
Took the square port head, welded it, or it welded
into a cathedral
epoxy. No, it made an oval port.
Sorry.
Oh boy, a lot of miles on that one.
Yeah, I know. It's still going though.
Made a cathedral port out of
it. Go ahead.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Once you put a cathedral in it, that was the end of it.
Done.
Killed
everybody.
Airspeed.
Yep.
So
was Greg working for WJ when you turned him down from when you flat left him?
He had just left, and he was doing his own deal. And he actually, Greg, he was driving a second car. He's driving a second car at Powix at some point, and then he got in, and he was working, and he drove for his father-in-law Ronnie Humphrey for a while, and then he got hooked up with Ken Black after Ken and George Barnell, their partnership stopped, and then they formed KB Racing, and that was in probably, I think it was 02 or 03, and then in 04 is when they procured the Summit sponsorship. Other than that, before it was just KB Framers and KB Racing. So they secured Summit sponsorship in 04, and as they say, the rest is history. It's an iconic team, and I was very fortunate to be part of that. And I came on in 06, and what had happened is in 06 I went out. I flew out to Seattle when they were on the West Coast swing. and interviewed. I knew Rob, and I knew the co-crew chief, Jeff Purley, and I had talked to them and said, hey, just in passing conversation, if you know anybody who's looking for anybody, I really like to get into pro stock. And this is I was on the phone with Purley, and he says, well, we're looking for somebody about shit. I'm like, oh my God, that's cool. I said, I didn't think anything of it, but he's like, why don't you come out can you come out to Seattle? And I was on a plane, in 2 days, and I flew out there, and they picked me up at the airport, and Greg Anderson is the one that picked me up, and him and the truck driver, Tim, which I thought that was like ultra cool. It's like, it was this schmuck from our tech school coming in, and Greg, he pops out, he's like, hi, I'm Greg Anderson. And Greg is one of the coolest cats I've ever met as well. All these guys are, they're fantastic people. And a lot of them, they only time anybody ever sees them if they do bad and someone sticks a mic in their face.
Yeah. Right. Greg didn't do bad often though.
No, he doesn't. But the guy, he's the most focused, one of the most focused people I've ever met.
Yep.
As far as racing, and it's that's a lot to admire for sure. And so I go out there and I meet everybody, and I go over and I'm looking at the pits. And no one on the team knew I was coming, so they're like, who's this schmo walking around our pits looking at all our junk? Because if you've ever been to a pro stock race, pro stock stuff, you got a better chance of looking at something in the Pentagon than you do at a pro stock car time. It's not like that anymore, but especially at KB, because they're their own island. They develop everything in house, so there's no outsourcing. So anything that you have, if you run great, you're a hero. If not, it's your own fault. So I get out there, and Purley, he shows me the clutch on this thing, and this looks like something out of a bicycle. I'm like, what the hell? It looks like something out of a motorcycle or something. And,
this is actually what I wanted to know: how you went from an engine builder to a clutch guy, because that's how I got in the thing, because they were looking for someone, not for the engine shop, but just a crew guy, and they know I do engines as well, and they said perhaps there'll be an opportunity, but we need a guy to do the clutch and trans on Greg's car, and also drive semi. Drive the hauler, and so I drove Greg's hauler as well. So, because I got a CDL, and that's a big thing in this business. That's actually a good tip. If you want to get into racing, first thing you need is a CDL, because that will get your foot in the door. And but anyways, so they Purley shows me the clutch and shows me how to set it up, and that's I'm a machinist, so I'm like, yeah, this is all pretty cool. It's got to be, he's just got to be on. You can't be a foul off on any of your stand heights, and it's got to be torqued to this, and here's how it goes. I'm like, cool. And showed me the clutch grinder and how to grind discs and all that. And this was all in the morning when they're setting up on a Thursday. And so showed me how to freshen it, take the whole thing apart, and make sure everything measures right and the fingers are right, and re-lube and put it back together and set it back up with the stand height and all that good stuff. Put your base pressure in it, and put your base counterweight in it, and so I did all that. And here's how to bolt it in the car, and you just bolt a flywheel on, stick her all in. Here's how to put the can on. I did that, and half expecting we're going to take it out, and they're like, okay, it's ready for Q1. I'm like, wait, whoa, hey! I was immediately wondering if you did everything like you were supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. And he was standing there, but he didn't say I was doing anything wrong, and so they.
He was puckered.
So when time comes, they give you the clutch call. They give you Rob and Jeff, and everyone confers on what the clutch setup should be, and they tell you put it in. And I don't know if I've ever been. I don't get nervous that often, but that particular moment when that thing, they're wheeling it up and he starts it up, I'm like, oh, holy shit! I hope everything's in there right. And man, they made a hit and everything was good. And then when it came back, he says, "Okay, here's how you take it apart." And I did the clutch the whole weekend. I just showed up. I didn't even have a crew T-shirt. I'm standing there in a Rare Morrison T-shirt. So I did the clutch the whole weekend. And so Sunday morning, it's like race day. Purley comes up and says, "Hey, come up in the lounge." So I go up in Greg's lounge, and everyone's up there. It's like the tribunal. There's both drivers. There's Jason, Lyon, there's Greg Anderson, there's Jeff Purley, the co-crew chief, there's Rob Downing, the co-crew chief, and Ken Black, the big man. And Greg says to me, he says, well, his exact words, well, Pat, we really like the hell out of you, and we'd like to offer you a job. Well, what do you say? I'm like, I'm in. So,
oh yeah,
and that's how I got there. So, and in all that as well, I started working on transmissions. Liberty 5-speed. At this point, I haven't touched one in, oh my God, this is 2014. I haven't touched one in 4 years. I could be drunk, blindfolded in a dark room, and I can put one together, in 8 minutes. So.
And you did stuff at the shop too, right? It opened up the opportunity to stay at the shop and do some engine stuff.
It did, and they knew I was an engine guy, but they already had a good engine set. They had 2 guys in the assembly room, and they had a guy that does they have guys that do CNC work and all that. And so I just basically helped work on the trailer initially, semi load and unload semi stuff. A little bit of engine shop stuff, not much. If that needs something cleaned or whatever, I was just, they don't know if, I should touch anything at that point, because they don't know a thing about, you can say whatever you want on a resume, and everybody knows how that goes. It's called overselling. Mm-hmm. And these guys, they eventually asked me these questions and let me do some things, and we all gained some trust. And then I started working in the engine shop with a guy named Rick Kipley, which he builds
Rick Kipley
cool rotary stuff. Yeah,
I know Kipley. Yeah,
Kipley is my buddy. I really, and again, another supremely talented person.
Where was he from? Wisconsin?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Kipley is supremely talented.
Yeah, he was a dirt engine builder, I think, for a while.
Yeah, and dirt engine, cup engine.
Yep.
He's a race cup, like a cup race winning engine builder.
Yep.
And now he's working up at a place. He was building like road race Ferrari stuff last time I knew. And but again, talk about a good dude. And he's precise, he's smart, but he's got that farmer hit it with a hammer mentality sometimes, which I love. and you just got to hit it precisely. He's a trip to work with. I like Rick. He makes so many good friends in this business, and he's one of them to this day. And so I worked with Kipley, and so that's when I started. And eventually I started doing all the one of the guys that was in the engine shop moved to the CNC shop to make parts. So I went in and I started doing all the honing. So I honed every block, every rod, every piston, anything that required honing I did. And also, obviously just regular stuff that you do on regular race stuff, from prototyping, one-off tooling, stuff, this manual lathe and Bridgeport stuff. Mm-hmm. If you need some goofy, from literally from narrowing bearings to making fixtures to clearance things that, have to be, really, really close every time. So got doing that, and then did an engine assembly. And then a couple of guys from Winston, or NASCAR, Winston Cup stuff, came in. Very, very talented guys. And that's we were the 3 guys in the engine shop as far as all the machining and assembly for, from basically from 2006 to when I left in 14. Hmm. And then I built engines, machined and honed and built engines during the week, and then I helped dyno as well, and then I drove the race rig, and then worked on the clutch and trans on the weekends. So
7 days a week.
Definitely a full-time job there. Yeah. No doubt about it.
Well, it is funny because people would come to the ropes and just talk about how great the job is, and they say, people see 6.5 seconds of your work when you're out there, and this is not a joke. This is not an inflated number. When I was there, I never worked under 70 hours a week, and it averaged 70 to 100 hours a week. Mm-hmm. So. And to put it in perspective, during race season, you get from February to November, you get 1 day off a month, and it's a Sunday.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
if you're not working, if you're not racing, you're working.
Or testing.
So
I guess you did a lot of testing too. You had to be out there for testing.
Yeah, did tons of testing, tons of development. That was good times there. Involved in a lot of development. So
I'm surprised the NASCAR guys were coming over.
Well, it's all the same stuff. This thing's a glorified Ingersoll Rand air compressor.
Yep.
So everything applies.
Well, they came over in droves when they killed the qualifying stuff.
Yeah, they did. When in NASCAR, when they were mowing the lawn, so to speak, there was in Mooresville, it was atrocious. There was 1,000 dudes out of jobs. And there were a lot of body hangers and a lot of engine guys as well.
Yep, and big money guys too. It was a bad
big
time.
money guys.
Yep.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I felt for them, and we were fortunate to get a couple of good guys that had helped the shop a little bit before, but they came on full time. And couple of guys that I worked with, who I thoroughly enjoyed working with. One of them's name is Andy Cooper, and he was one of the head engine assemblers for Joe Gibbs for a long, long time. And this guy is the baddest of the bad. He is a true engine guy, true machinist. Really, really, again, supremely talented. I tend to overuse that, but I don't know any other way to describe somebody with that kind of dedication and that kind of knowledge. And also another young man's name is Jeff Gunther, another Cup guy. And these guys would, they were assembling stuff at Gibbs, race winning, Cup engines. So
yeah,
and that's
and that's a tight ship over there. I guess they worked for Mark.
Yeah, man. You used to work for Mark?
No, I didn't used to. I know who Mark is. I work for Manley, I know who everybody is.
Okay. Yeah, man. Mark's a good dude. I got to know Mark through Jason Line. So.
Yep.
So that knucklehead came over from Gibbs as well, from a dyno operator to a pro stock driver.
Did you know Tony Correnti? He worked at R&D at Gibbs.
I know Tony. I don't know him personally. I've seen names.
You know the story?
I don't know the story.
Oh, okay, no big. I know him well when he was at Gibbs. Then he went to RCR.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a different world. Different world there.
Yeah, different world. It's an interesting world. It's again, engines are engines as far as I'm concerned. They're built to do specific jobs. You don't arbitrarily throw something together and hopefully it does something. You build something for a specific power level to run in a specific range for a specific amount of time, and that's all. That's all engine building is. So.
Yep.
Did they have anything that, did they bring something to the table besides some kind of knowledge, some kind of trick that they used, or airflow?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
So they kind of made the program better by using some of the stuff they were doing in Cup.
Everybody has their, brings their strengths, and everyone has something to contribute. That's the part. That's what I liked about being there is, everyone was very skilled and very driven and very dedicated, and that your job is to win races. It's not to go there and build engines for 40 hours and then collect a paycheck. These people, it's a group that's single-minded in winning.
Well, it is actually a team. I mean, what you're all working towards the common goal.
Yeah.
It's very much like that.
And that's what everybody, then that's, you don't have to tell anybody that's important. You don't have to go to somebody and say, hey, you got to get this done because it's got to be done. Everybody knows what has to happen. And everybody knows when the trucks leave, and everybody knows how much power this thing's got to make. And it's a fantastic group of people.
All right. So tell us something that would get you fired. Some kind of secret stuff.
Oh, well, from back in the day, I mean, everything, there's still a lot of proprietary stuff, but, it's funny that, the evolution of pro stock right now, I got out right before fuel injection. So, which fuel injection in and itself is a good thing. I don't have anything. I think that was a good move.
Sure.
What was a questionable move, in my humble opinion, was the RPM.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Because it doesn't cost any less. is my point. You have the same amount of money in development. The parts cost the same. So I don't know what the school of thought was, but
well, I'll tell you what the school of thought was, and I've said this many times on this show. The people making the rules are nowhere near as smart as the people that are breaking the rules.
Yeah,
that's why.
Right.
That's why they're not even close.
And the thing is, the rules are rules. You know, you operate the in any sort of racing. The adage is, if it passes tech, it's legal, right?
Yep.
So, but the funny thing is when you get accused of that kind of any sort of shady hijinks like that, it's usually by people who are doing it and you're not doing it. And if you're beating somebody who's cheating, well, then you must be cheating worse.
Absolutely. They can't even wrap their head around it that somebody's just doing better than them when they're doing what we shouldn't be doing. Yep. And it makes them crazy, for sure.
Right. And that was the beauty part of working there is you have, the people that are working on this constant development and just basically being very systematic about it and using not just, the shotgun method, using a lot of scientific method to get gains and to test things and quantify things and get results that repeat and things like that. And then you'll say, the rumors. Half the time it was funny because I always said, I wish we were half as smart as people thought we are.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because the crazy stories were just, oh my God! I mean, about all this crazy trick, space age, illegal, whatever, and I'd sit back there and like, I just gapped the rings on that thing. There's nothing trick in it. It's an engine. It's scienced out really well. It's got a good induction system, and it does exactly what we want it to when we want it to. So I don't see what the problem is. We're just going to keep working on it until it goes faster.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you make the jump from being a badass there to being famous?
A TV star.
TV star, yeah, pretty much.
This is the weirdest thing, right? Because it all stemmed from, my buddy Jason Line, right? He's working on a car. Remember, he had this '68 Biscayne wagon, and we did an engine for him. And Summit Racing was involved, and so Summit is a client of us, RTM. So when RTM was there, they were with Summit, and they were documenting this engine build for part of the show. And so when they came to our shop in Mooresville, I was there, and I'm one of the engine guys, and so I'm a pretty friendly guy. I went over and introduced myself and talked to the owner of the company at the time, Joe St. Lawrence, and the salesman Rick Kahn was there, and Nan Galhard, who is who's the representative of Summit for their venture into motorsports like this, and she has a lot of say in everything, and I love Nan. She's a lot of fun, and we work with her to this day because we still, they're one of our big clients. So anyway, I just got to talking to him, and Joe Elmore was there, the host of the show, and Joe's been on automotive television, for a long, long time, and they got done, and for whatever reason, I had to. They wanted some B-roll and some added stuff in case they wanted to use it, and they said, "Hey, Nan says, can you talk about anything on any sort of part for 3, 4, 5 minutes?" I'm like, sure. I mean, what do you want to know? She says, well, can you talk about this anything? Just get a part, like say, get a piston and just tell me about pistons. And so she said, I'll order you anything in. So they overnighted in like 3 different types of pistons. A regular autothermic and a hypereutectic, and then a regular forge, and just talked about the differences and how they're machined and made and all that. And did that, and later, Elmore called me about a week later, and he says, "Hey, I know you're having fun getting rich in pro stock, and but want to know if you might want to, come work with me on TV." And this is in 2000. Hell, it was 2009, and I'm like, flat out no. This is my dreams to work in pro stock, and I'm actually doing it. And how many people can actually say that they've achieved something like that? So I said, I appreciate the offer, but no thanks, man. Thanks for the offer. And so that was it. And so continued racing, and in 2013, fast forward to, there's a segment called Driveway Rescue where they take a viewer's car and have the host and plus people that were involved with the parts, which was Summit, work on this car and get it running. And they did it with us again, and they came back, and the field producer's name's Tom Spachowski. I talked to him and the host at the time, which was in the engine shop, his name is John Bouchard, good buddy of mine, great engine builder. And we back then they came back and they offered me the job again. I said, hell, lightning doesn't strike twice like this. So I thought long and hard about it, and I made the move. And
now you're settled down.
Well, I don't know if I'm settled. You know how hard it is for me to settle down. Jesus, again, the crack reference is good, but it's natural. It's natural crack.
How long have you been doing it?
Crack?
I've been crack.
All his life.
I mean, I think that when I was younger, they were trying to medicate me, and my mom said, "No, that's not a good idea." Well, she probably regretted the hell out of that. So that's how I started here. I started here in May of 2014, and here I am. It's a great gig. It's a fun job.
Where do you shoot it?
We're in Franklin, Tennessee.
Okay.
We're just we're 20 miles south of Nashville, basically.
Got it. Good barbecue down there.
It's a great town. Great town. I wish you're gonna think I'm weird for saying this. I wish it was colder.
That is weird.
I'd be if it never got above 55 degrees, I'd be happy. But I run a little hot. My temperature, my thermostat's stuck or something. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it.
So how do the shows get formatted? Are there writers that come up with ideas, or do you come up with things that need to be discussed, or projects you want to do?
Wouldn't it be great to have the Power and Speed guys on?
No.
That's right.
I'll send you guys.
I forgot you're a hermit.
I'm a hermit.
The way we come up with projects is the host of the show, which in our case, Mike and I, we come up with the ideas for the projects, and we float them past. We have editorial meetings and sales meetings, and obviously we're advertiser driven, so the projects are built around advertisers' parts and whatever actually we want. If we can integrate advertisers' parts and things in them, that's great. It's not always the case because we want to make good TV. It's all about the DIY and the editorial. We don't sell the sham wow. We don't say, hey, look at this part. It's like best ever, and then all of a sudden it's magically installed, and go buy it wherever.
Don't knock the sham wow.
What's that? The sham wow.
I said, don't knock the sham wow. You should have used the tornado as your example.
The tornado. There's a good one. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But you're an airflow guy. You understand how that works.
Of course.
So the projects we dream them up and we do them. We don't have writers. I'm the technical director of the show. So is Mike, my co-host. So we dictate all the editorial as far as all the DIY and all the installs, and we set up all that. And we have we have a videographer and a producer director in our studio. Each one has their own, and so we decide how things are shot and how it goes together, and we try to do it in a timely amount of the shows have X amount of minutes we have to fill with content, and sometimes like an engine build can be sometimes more than one show, and then obviously car builds take longer. So that's how we just show stuff if it has to be cut, moved, fabricated. We do benefits and features on parts. It's very seamless. It's not. We use parts because they work too. That's another thing, and it's a neat deal because we work well with all the manufacturers and advertisers, and they provide us some great stuff, and we build some neat stuff out of it.
Yeah, it's nice when you can talk about the items you use and you actually genuinely like them. And I'll tell you that's extremely important because there's nothing worse than if someone comes in and says, hey, I got this trick part that's if you put it on this, it's worth 20, right? And then you put it on something and it's worth 6, Mm-hmm.
But they advertise, so you have to.
And here's there's no fudging numbers on anything. We have an in-ground, we have a dyno jet chassis dyno, in studio, and we also have a Superflow dyno. We have a Power Mark. We have their latest greatest dyno. So
wow,
we have nice equipment. I mean, we have the two most sophisticated pieces of equipment in the building, and we are a well equipped studio, and we're a well equipped shop. So you can build stuff on. You can in TV land, not us, but in TV land, you can build a TV car where if you have a static shot from 50 foot, the windows could be taped in, and you're not going to know it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't build a TV engine because it'll turn into a Roman candle on the dyno.
Yeah.
And it's got to make power. And if you're showing something making power, well, that's proof that it made that. So in all regards, that's what it makes. So that's what you're advertising. That's what it better make.
So what's your next engine program or project?
Well, right now, we just finished up we did a Motown LS. I don't know if you're familiar with that block from Oil Products.
Yep.
It does conventional small block guts.
Yep.
But up top it's 9240 deck, so it takes all LS induction. And so we built a 440 cubic inch Motown LS. Used a trick flow 260cc head, and this thing, it had a big manifold on it, a big Super Victor on it, and a single Dominator.
And, is that a cathedral port head or square port head?
it was an LS7 head.
Why would you use that? It's not going to make any power anywhere.
Oh, come on, man.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
my bad. I lost my mind.
I was going to use the cathedral port, but I was going to jam a bunch of paper towels on the top of it
This is never going to end.
Why should it? It's funny.
No, I like that. It's
sorry.
It's funny because Dave thinks I'm a cathedral port guy. I think so.
Yeah, he wishes anyway.
But yeah, like that was our last project, and that engine, it's pump gas hydraulic roller. You don't step on it too hard because it's a street car deal. Makes 677. It's a nice engine.
Like nothing, right?
Yeah, got to be a nice curve too to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice engine, and the next one we're doing is pretty cool. We're doing in conjunction with Summit. We're doing a UMP open wheel modified dirt car, and we built the car on set. A guy named Don Jumper, out of St. Louis, Impressive Race Cars. He built the car. He brought the car on set, and we built the car on set. And great looking car. He's very successful in the UMP world. Excuse me. And the engine, we're building the bullet for that. It's going to be 410 inch conventional small block Chevy, 23 degree headed deal. It's a grassroots racer, so this class you can run anything from a 602 crate to an 18 degree. So but we wanted to keep it, middle of the road budget wise, and still make decent power. So this is a 410 inch deal. Brodix 233 cc head. The Track 1 STSs, and we got their whole top end package from Brodix, and it's all through Summit Racing. And this engine will make good power. It'll make low to mid 600s, and this thing will live at 8,000 all the time. So, and but that's our next, and that'll be a compression engine. So.
Now, how do you figure these shows out? Like how many shows do you do over the course of I guess you'd still have it in seasons, right? It would still be.
We have a season. We're on airwise. We're January to December. We shoot 23 shows a year.
Okay, got it.
And so it's pretty tight because depending on what you're doing, that's you're shooting 5 days a week, 6 days a week sometimes, to get these projects done.
Mm-hmm.
And the 75% of the work is done off camera. Because the one big question we always get asked is how many people you got in your production, how many people work on your stuff. I'm like, well, in ours it's Mike and I, so we don't have a ninja crew of 20 that come in and work on the car, excuse me, and do all the stuff. Well, if it's on there, unless we have a guest on with the parts that are helping install the parts and stuff like that, 'cause we do that as well, but we're right alongside when we're working on the stuff. But we do all the work, so we do a lot of work off camera.
So. That's pretty cool.
So it's a full-time job, it's a neat deal. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna do my lines and then I'll be in my trailer, drinking a smoothie. No, we're when the
hair and makeup people rushing around and.
But you have a trailer, right?
Yeah, No.
You have a
That would
fluffer.
be really cool.
You need a fluffer.
More important.
More important, you need a fluffer.
More importantly, yeah, no, that would be really sweet, but alas, that's not the case. So,
Well, this is actually one I'm going to check out. I'm going to watch this. I don't normally watch them, but I'm gonna.
You should.
I think you dig it. We're on we're on Paramount Network right now. Excuse me, man. That's it's all that. God, excuse me. There we go.
Less snort. Got him.
All that meth and crack.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we're on Paramount Network on Sunday mornings on Eastern time slot. It will be 9 a.m. The block starts. It's called Power Nation TV, and our show leads off Engine Power. So if you get up bright and early, I guess that if 9 is bright and early for you on Sunday, we're on, and then followed by XOR, which is short for Extreme Off Road. And then there's the show Truck Tech, and then there's Detroit Muscle. So it's a 2-hour block of automotive DIY. We're the highest rated DIY on cable television.
Okay. We have a bunch of listeners that listen like live. I guess they really got nothing better to do. But there's 2 guys from Canada.
Cool.
And the one guy, PJ, said it's the only stuff worth watching, as far as out of the automotive stuff. But more importantly, Rich Guido is a Drag Week guy. And I don't know if you're familiar with Drag Week, but he said you guys should do a show about Drag Week. I don't know if you can get in the middle of that or not, because it's, covered by whoever it's covered by, but that would be an interesting one.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. Anything that's I don't know if it's called conflicting interest or you're dipping your toes into somebody else's pond, but I would absolutely love it. I think that'd be big fun. We've definitely done cars that could
You're Fairlane.
Could at least hang pretty well. We're not gonna out there and rotate the earth, but we got some fun stuff that and if we did something very specific for it, I think that'd be a great show. I would love it personally.
Well, they're all going to be, and I guess we'll be there too, at least in some capacity, in some vehicle. But it is down that direction, and these guys, like specifically the Canadians, they make the trip from there. They drive here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So
we got a couple of cars that we could that could hang pretty well. Some of those guys, it's just insane what they're driving and how fast they're going. It's awesome. But I'm a big naturally aspirated guy, obviously from my pro stock stuff. But I've actually, oh my God, I've badmouthed Power Adder stuff so much I can't even believe I have one. But I have a turbo car. So
there you go.
Well, Rich Guido said he could drive to 2,000 miles to your shop, and he could.
Oh, I don't doubt it. That there's some of that stuff that there's people take that kind of thing for granted, but there's a lot of engineering that has to happen to get something like that to live that long and go that far and go that fast.
And it's a stick.
Yeah,
perfect.
And he made a lot of power.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't. I mean, I know he turned it down, but I think he made 13 and change or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the Pontiac guy?
Yeah, the GTO. Stick shift GTO.
Every time I hear, I always forget his name.
Rich
Guido.
I'm sorry, Rich.
He's a ninja. He could beat all of us up.
I remember talking to him. Big balls. Like, you have to have big balls to be driving something like that.
That far away from home with a stick, with a real stick, not a clutchless stick, a real stick.
Yeah. And then going racing.
And he built the whole car.
Yeah.
Literally the whole car. I think he even forged all the iron. Maybe not. Am I exaggerating a little bit?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm definitely going to check it out because
me too.
Cool, man. I appreciate that.
I want to be on it.
Cool stuff
I'd be great.
Have at it. Let me know how it goes.
It's a good deal, man. It's a good time. We got some good stuff in the works, and right now, we wrap up our 2018 season basically at the end of August, and we start shooting shows for 19, which will air in January of 19. We start shooting that in literally September.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
the work never stops.
Tom, let's take a trip.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get with him on an engine project that we could put some parts to.
Yeah, they don't do a lot of foreign stuff. What about like a 2JZ thing? Like something new.
Ooh, hey now.
Well, there is a GTR guy on their employee list, but I don't think.
Yeah, no, we had a guy that had a pretty spiffy GTR. It made like
14
I think made like 14 and change at the tire or something like that. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, Yeah, that's pretty serious. Yeah.
Yep.
Does he still work there?
No.
Oh.
But he
Took care of that.
He's a good dude though. He's a true car guy, and he has a lot of fun with this stuff. So
There's another question for somebody. Somebody wanted to know if there's a way to watch these TV shows on the internet if it's not carried where they are.
absolutely, that's the beauty of all this. You can go to powernationtv.com, obviously for all of our shows. If we have a new show that debuts on Sunday, the next Sunday it will debut on the website, all of the shows, and you can watch all of the shows because they stay on forever, and you can watch them all in their entirety. And there's actually a little bit more content on the shows that aren't cut down because our like Paramount has a TRT or total runtime that's a given number, and it's a little bit shorter than the rest of it. So we actually have a little bit more content in the online stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Give the address again.
It's www.powernationtv.com.
Okay.
And also, if you subscribe to like Hulu or Amazon Fire, we're also on there. Just check your listings.
All right, say this is something you can get from Amazon, like through the regular store, like the Prime stuff, Prime Video.
Hulu.
I think so.
Okay.
On Hulu,
like
though.
Hulu, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can binge watch Patrick.
You could.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Pocket protector.
You're like this guy's nuts. So I got to see what he's like on TV. So I'm a little toned down. They use so much extra space on the cards that they record on because of my cursing. I actually wish we were on like HBO or something like that because the outtakes would be spectacular. But unfortunately we're a G-rated show, so kind of like this one.
Sure.
Yeah.
We are.
What the fuck?
Well, I got to tell you, it's actually been a lot of fun to talk to you. I think this is.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's
go ahead.
we didn't even get any good Dave stories, which we got some.
That's kind of good because we could save that. Maybe, if you're nice enough and not too busy to come on again in a few months or something like that, we could do a Dave story show.
Oh my God. A whole, not a whole hour.
I'd love to.
Not a whole hour in me.
We'll say.
I think it would be close.
Well, if we can
One
get
thing about Dave, I'm going to tell you. One thing I will tell you about Dave is anytime that he came up missing, right? If we're at like a bar or we're at some social gathering, anytime I would find him, he would literally, and this is not a joke, he would have 2 or 3 women sitting on his lap, and I never could understand that. He just the guy. I mean, I'm like, hey, where's Dave? And is 2 girls sitting down like there's Dave underneath him. And
I'm retired.
Fruit flies?
Are you sure they were girls?
Fruit flies. That's
what they were.
It was dark.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If they had clothes on, you never know. You gotta feel around a little bit. Dave didn't care, probably.
Yes. I mean, whatever. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Fudge packing.
Oh God. All right.
Oh my God. Now you've gone
That's
too
it
far.
for me.
Yeah.
I'm out.
We're off the rails.
Pat.
All right. Well, look, I'm gonna watch it. Everybody else should do the same. It sounds like this one is worth watching, and I don't mean to trash. Like I hate somebody to think that like they hear this and they're like, oh, what do you mean the other shows are no good? Look, I've tried to watch a few of them, just not for me. But this is being done the way it is with real background from real people. I have no doubt it's probably more what I'd be interested in. For sure.
Because you're talking to somebody who's like intelligent, like Pat.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
I appreciate that, but that may be unfounded. But I appreciate.
Well, don't prove us wrong on the air.
No, it's a great show, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of what everybody does because everybody works very hard, and it's a great group of people. So.
All right, fantastic,
cool.
Thank you, Pat. And thanks for not embarrassing me tonight. I was really.
You'll get another chance.
Yeah.
If I'm coming back on, it's on. It's gonna be awesome. Well, same thing with me. I got a bunch of embarrassing stories too. So I've done a lot of bad. I have some bad marks on my ledger here. So no, thank you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. We look forward to maybe doing it again down the road. And good luck with the show. We will check you out.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Really
Pat.
appreciate it. I can't wait to come back.
Thanks,
All right.
man.
See ya.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Crickets.
Didn't work.
So, did you know that fudge packing is a real job?
You saved it for the end, didn't you?
Yeah, you told
Dave
me
had an
that.
epiphany today. He's driving down
down 202.
202.
What? You passed the place,
The candy
that-
place,
the
yeah,
fudge
yeah.
place. Yeah.
I didn't know that fudge packing is an actual job. I thought that was something that like two men did. I didn't know.
Why,
that was a
dude?
job.
Why?
Wow. Right off the rails.
Why?
You know why? Because
Like,
Tad's
wow.
not here. He was feeling like
I had to Google it.
he had to add something.
Like, holy shit, that's like somebody does that.
Yeah, they do. They do.
My God.
He got all excited because there was a help wanted sign out there at the fudge place.
There really is a fudge place. I mean, this is.
I know,
This,
I know.
This
Home-
didn't.
home-
I
homemade
can't remember the name of the place, but yeah, there is on 202. It's old looking building.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I know what
big
you're
red
talking
building.
about.
It had a big sign out front. I just never knew.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna check that show out
Yeah, we should.
and
I'm
see,
going to.
see what it's like.
Especially that you can get it online. I'll just put it on one of my monitors and go.
Nice that they got a pretty serious engine on it too. That's
Yeah.
guess the budget's there.
We could talk about going there, but we never will. Just like the Chevy. We got to go to the Chevy place. That's where we got to go.
That I go to.
Yeah.
That I go to.
You just need to go to one of the races.
Yeah. I'd rather go to the.
Not when it's 150 out, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
That was out.
yeah. But we were in Lamborghini's booth, so we didn't have
Yeah,
we
you
had
did
air
good.
conditioning and all.
You done good, kid.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anything
Well-
else?
What do we
Power
got?
Speed?
What do we got for next week? Anything?
Well, no.
No,
We'll get something.
Well, it was actually good. Dave got this worked out
Yeah.
kind of early.
Yep.
I'm a planner.
Yes. Well, plan something else. Don't go stalking people. You know, like it was a little weird. Like, you know, Darren? No.
Let's have Tad on next week. All right. I don't even want to let's not even get into that.
I know there's some Subaru stories developing
Yeah.
that are going to be probably painful.
Yep.
But we can discuss that later. But yeah, figure out who's next and where.
I'll get somebody early. I
Okay.
will. Yep.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Tom will get somebody early.
You're
Early.
doing it?
Yeah. Well, you could try. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't care who
Let's
does.
come up with somebody.
Don't
Okay.
matter to me. Just somebody get something. I'm just the guy that pushes the button.
And
All
the
I
button has been pushed.
The button has been pushed. So, all right. Well, we'll be back next week. You know, somebody was asking about if there's missing shows. At this point, there's not. Because
we were off.
We were off. They were just, life got in the way.
Yep.
So that's how it goes. So, but we will see you next Tuesday.
Yes, we will.
See ya.
See you. Toodles.